26th. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, the tale of why there was no show 2 days prior.
Let's do this.
So as we alluded last night, and as you were probably aware, there was no show on Tuesday. Normally, this just because it's New York City, a lot of times when things happen here, even if they're not the craziest news, they tend to make the national news. But because there was more important news going on, a lot of people actually didn't know what happened to us on Tuesday.
Yesterday was like the biggest news day in a long time.
And the day before, too.
All the news people were probably like, yes, fucking news, goddamn. But at the same time, they were like, fuck, I have to work, fuck.
Yeah, Tuesday was crazy. I mean, it was my Super Bowl again. Barack, yeah, I'm not going to talk about that. But the elections are close. I want to talk about it, though.
What do you have to say that the news didn't already say?
The news didn't say crap.
So what? But everything you know about it is just from the news. So if the news only said crap, you know what? You know crap.
No, because you see, I read blogs, and
I. Because the blogs, they know.
And you know, I know Barack Obama. He's right there.
He's your best friend. You call him on the phone every night.
We've actually got him.
Sweet nothings.
We've actually got him here live in the studio, and I would if I had his number.
Yeah.
He's dreamy.
Anyway,
so we're gonna talk about that because we realized that our experiences on Tuesday, if nothing else, kind of constitute one of those geek fables. We haven't had a geek fable in quite some time.
We sort of forgot that whole geek fable, how to not suck deal, but we should bring that back.
I think we should.
That's our Thursday foundation. I think Thursday's been dry, so if we go back to our roots on Thursday, we might find some success.
Some artists had like their blue periods or their metal periods or whatever. It seems like Geeknights Thursdays had the movies period, where we just reviewed a movie every week. And then we moved on into talking about food a lot. And then we had the how to not suck it until we sucked it how to not sucking.
Yeah, let's go back to Geek Fables.
I think so.
At least for now.
There's a lot to learn from our lives because once again, we have triumphed over...
Or we're really good at taking completely mundane things and trying to ham-fist some sort of moral into them.
Man, so I was eating this peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I don't think I can make that epic.
Nah.
I think I could.
It was so fucking good. Let me tell you, the secret, wheat bread.
See, how to not suck at making a PB&J.
Step 1, not white bread.
First off, you got to take the peanuts, right? Don't get crunchy peanut butter. That stuff is usually nasty.
No, you know what you have to do?
Get normal peanut butter.
No.
And then crunch up some fresh peanuts.
No, you're a fool also. You see, while I purchased the Skippy peanut butter...
Also, you want apricot jelly.
Well, yeah, that's apricot jelly is good. But while I personally buy Skippy peanut butter because that is the brand I like that's available in the store, that is not the best option. No. The best option is to go to the deli if you have a not shit supermarket and get the fresh, just fucking made in the store peanut butter.
Farmers markets are also good.
Yeah, I guess sometimes.
Usually.
Actually, the best place, the one supermarket I know has excellent peanut butter
Food Lion?
No, Publix in Florida. If you go to the deli counter and ask for peanut butter, pretty much every Publix has amazing peanut butter at the deli counter.
All right, Daryl Surratt, go get some peanut butter. There you go.
I wonder if he has Publix or if he has like Winn-Dixie.
Well, we'll find out if he's listening because I'll get one of those messages a week later.
I wonder if he even likes peanut butter.
He'll just be like, yes. And I'll be like, what?
Anyway.
So, yeah, I guess we should talk about some news. I'm going to hold Scott off and do my news because Scott's news is, no one was paying attention to the news at my job because, we're busy. Unlike other jobs, we do work all the time. I'll say this. I've had more fun doing this job where I actually do work than I've ever had in a job before, with the possible exception of the job at RIT where I was a confidential courier.
You like being a confidential courier?
You know what? Because RIT jobs all pay the same. It doesn't matter. You get paid crap and you don't do any work.
Well, you get paid not according to what you do, but according to the level of the position you're in.
It's kind of like the government, the feds.
Yeah. It's like the person who was my boss when I was a student worker at RIT. She basically went and tried to make the job that me and this other kid sort of shared, 10 hours a week each. She tried to sort of make that position the highest level position she could get it to be at the student employment office.
Actually, my last job at RIT was the second highest level. I made like $8 an hour.
You know what I realized?
Huh.
What do you think minimum wage is?
Like 5 something?
No, it's like 6 something. And it's gonna be 7 something.
It should be.
It might even, and I think in like some years, it might even get up to 8 something.
You know what? It should. New York State has a higher minimum wage.
New York State is much higher than the federal minimum wage.
Which is what it
but
should be.
actually, the federal minimum wage is going to go up and force the New York one to go up by a little bit. Then the federal one's going to go up again. I was looking at a chart on the wall in the office near the sink.
Oh, that chart that must be posted here under penalty of whatever.
The generic have to buy it at Staples labor chart. Yeah.
Yep. If you get hurt at work, you can call these people.
Well, that's the workers'
OSHA.
compensation.
Well, there's all those charts. They're like, your company can't do this to you, and they can't do this to you, and they can't do this to you,
Yes.
but you're not allowed to do this.
Staples basically sells 2, the federal one and the state one. You just put them both up, and each one sort of has the combination of all the little things it needs to have. Anyway.
Yeah, but Adam Smith said minimum wage necessary.
All right,
I go by Adam Smith.
What's your news?
Well, speaking of Adam Smith, one thing about New York City that is wonderful and horrible, mostly wonderful because I don't care, is that if you want a Versace or a Dior or a Prada
Or a Folex.
or any of those things, Rolex, what you do
It's Folex.
is you head down to
Or Folkleys.
a place called Chinatown, and you can buy, legitimate Chinese Versace bags for like $5.
In other words, it's just a completely normal $5 bag that happens to say Versace on it. Of course, you know what? A Versace bag is a completely normal $5 bag that happens to say Versace on it. Only it costs a bajillion dollars.
See,
for
I don't
no
want to get
reason.
into that because I've wandered into some of those designer crazy stores and looked at some of these because there's stuff for men too. Like there are designer messenger bags that
Go
are like,
look at like a Tag Heuer watch. That's something that you don't want.
well, watch or chronometer.
They're fancy.
No, what you got to do is you go
They're
to the,
F1 sponsors. That tells you the kind of
you
money.
got to go to
they're-
the Sharper Image and get those like Soviet surplus like bomber chronometers.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do.
Anyway.
Anyway, you can get everything down there for super cheap. I mean,
including the Photoshops,
and the Adobes.
Adobes.
I actually have, and I still use them because the thing is, they're super high quality, and I really don't feel bad about this at all. But I bought some really fancy, quote unquote, like designer leather, like black driving gloves down in Chinatown for $4. Total bootlegs.
They're
And
just what did they say some brand on them?
yeah, they do.
Okay.
It's worn off now.
See, I figure you just go down there and buy generic leather gloves for $4.
I also have another. They're thin salates, but thin salate is spelled wrong.
Oh,
But
man.
you know what? You know
That's
what?
crazy.
You know
shit.
what?
They're not even bootlegging the name brand. They're bootlegging the trademark of the patented like insulation material.
You know what though?
That's like if they sold like Gore-Tex boots.
It seemed just as warm and just as comfortable, and I still have both those pairs of gloves. They haven't worn out at all. They're great.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I bought like $40 ski gloves when I was a kid, and those wore out after like 2 seasons.
Well, when you were a kid, technology of gloves was not as good as it is now.
Yeah, I definitely did learn that because ski technology has changed.
Of course, technology of toy has decreased.
Yes, toys need to be made out of metal, and if they shoot something, they need to shoot it at eye-breaking speed.
Eye breaking. Like, how about gut piercing?
Anyway,
Spring loaded.
so New York City decided to crack down on this. And you know what? It's trivial to crack down on this. Basically,
You walk down the street, you open your eyeballs. Oh, look, there it
They
is.
sent a bunch of cops down to Canal Street and just roughed everybody up because everybody was selling bootleg shit. And I'm not going to talk about the details, but it's this crazy, like they busted a lot of people.
Yep.
But here's what bothers me about this article. I'm not going to debate the rightness or wrongness of bootlegging or fighting bootlegging because it's a complicated issue.
It's mostly an issue of trademark infringement.
Yes, and I mean, these people are breaking the law, and what they're doing is wrong on a number of levels. However, I'm going to quote a sentence from the article. Well, actually, no, I want to quote this other sentence first from the New York Police Commissioner. Nobody's being tricked here. Everybody knows what this stuff is. They're here to be hip and buy knockoff goods.
See, wait. If people know it's knockoff goods, then there's no dilution of trademark going on. So where is the wrong?
See, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I can say this.
I'm not arguing from a legal standpoint. I'm arguing from the standpoint of what harm are they doing? So it should it be okay?
Well,
Should it not be?
Speaking of what harm are they doing, here's the sentence that bothers me because I want to do a whole show.
I mean, are people honestly not buying real Versace because they can buy fake Versace?
I'll just say right now because I know someone's gonna try because we know how to pronounce these things. We're making fun of them, much like how Movies You Should See, a really good podcast,
Psycho
reviewed Alfred Hitchcock's classic Psycho.
Oh, Psycho.
That's a really good movie. If you've never seen
before, like, I knew the word psycho, but I didn't always know how to spell it. And when, like, Street Fighter 2 was, like, sort of a new game on the consoles, and I got the instruction book, and it said, M. Bison, his move was the Psycho Crusher. Because I didn't know better.
You know what? I'm sure Nobunga is right there with you.
Nobunga. Nobunga, he's very ambitious.
Dr. Chaos.
Dr. Chaos. No, I knew Dr. Chaos.
Anyway,
Professor Chaos?
Here's the sentence that bothers me in this article because this has come up in the video game industry, in the anime industry, in the software industry, and now it's here on Thursday in Meat Space.
All right.
Quote, I'm building up to this, you see. In New York, the trade was worth $80 billion and cost the city $1 billion a year in lost sales tax revenue. Now,
are they not paying sales tax?
Well, that's not, no. As in, this is what they're saying. All of those people who bought the knockoff Versace would have bought a real Versace if they hadn't been able to get the bootleg. So therefore, $80 billion, the city lost $1 billion in sales tax because obviously all those people would have bought the real ones and paid the exorbitant sales tax.
Because I'm sure all those people could afford the real ones, right?
Like
a $5,000 bag.
I would bet
as opposed to the $5 bag.
I would bet
the same bag
amount of money that perhaps none of the people who bought those bootlegs would have ever even considered buying a real, legitimate designer Versace.
I would have to pretty much agree. I can't see anyone, right? Really think about it, right? Okay, you got someone who just wants a bag. They don't care about the name brand, right? The name brand doesn't really mean anything to them. They just want a bag. They're not going to buy a $500, $1,000 bag no matter what.
Nor are they going to buy...
So it doesn't matter if this bag says Versace on it or not. They're going to buy the cheap, functional bag that suits them. Now,
they're probably going to buy a legitimate bag, not the knockoff bag. The knockoff bags are very specifically for people who want to appear hip, but
right,
are not.
So take the rest of the people, right? These are people who actually care about the name brand, right? The name brand means something to them. But... they can't, so if the name brand means something to them and they could afford it, wouldn't they get the real stuff and then say, look at me, because they're so vain, right, that they care about name brands. They would say, look at me, I have a non-knockoff one, I'm special. If they're buying the knockoff one, obviously they can't afford the real one. And they wouldn't have bought it if the knockoff wasn't available.
So I am highly dubious of New York City claiming that they lost $1 billion a year from this.
Yeah, that's pretty much just bullshit.
However, I like the fact that basically what this Bloomberg told the news is that the city is going to force the landlords to push all those people out. And if they don't put legitimate businesses in their place, there might be some big trouble in Chinatown.
Well, if they do put legitimate businesses in there, I mean... It won't really upset me too much. And some of those legitimate businesses might be things that I want. So, it'll be okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I just find this, I
really don't want knockoff merchandise personally.
No, but it bothers me that so many people, I mean, it's one thing to say, piracy is wrong and knockoffs are wrong and fighting it's a good thing, because that's fine. But to claim that that you lost all that money because all those people would have bought your product if they couldn't have pirated it, is not entirely true and not entirely legitimate way of claiming losses.
It's completely false.
All right, so your news is much more important. So we shouldn't spend too long on this.
I figured I couldn't save this until Monday, but a lot of people don't realize today was an Appley day.
It was a big Appley day.
Right,
we're talking about New York City 2 times, a big Appley day.
Oh, that was so lame. Oh, bad. Oh. Okay, so basically... Steve Jobs, he didn't say much, but he had his VPs who know more about what was going on saying stuff. And basically, the only thing they came out with is the SDK for the iPhone, which means people can make software for the iPhone, right? And looking at it from the standpoint of someone making applications, they made it pretty nice. It's going to be nice and easy to make iPhone applications if that's what you want to do and you have those skills and the tools available to you, right? However, there's one issue that's not super 100% clear, and that's basically, okay, I make the application, how do I give it to people, right? Well, what they're going to do is they're going to have not iTunes, but like now, where if you want to get an application for your iPod, you buy it on iTunes and then you transfer it to your iPod with a wire. They're going to have a store on the iPhone. So on the iPhone, there's a button that says, apps, and you push it, and then all the applications show up, and you push them, and you I guess you touch them, and they install on your iPhone, right? And now, if you make one, you sort of have to get your application into the store. And if you decide you want to charge money for your application, let's say I make a game and I want to charge $10, every time someone buys that game for $10, I get $7 and Apple gets $3, and that's how it's going to work. If I want to give the game away for free, then I don't have to pay anything. It's just it gets given away for free, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, while obviously Apple's going to have a lot of control over this, and they're not going to let us unlock cards or anything.
Yeah.
But I can also see that because it's a piece of hardware like that, and there is a lot of chance for problems or malicious applications, while I don't fully agree with exactly how they're handling this, and I think they could be a little bit more lenient, I'm kind of okay with it because I can see how trivial it would be for people to make really, really malicious applications.
Well, I think they're trying to avoid the Palm situation where people have these trios and they install all these applications on them and they crash all the time and they're unstable and they're trying to put some quality control. But the real question is they gave some details as to which applications would be allowed in the store and which would not. For example, they said no porn applications. There will not...
Wait, what kind of porn application? Wouldn't that be Firefox?
Well, you could possibly make Doki Doki Maho Shinpan for the iPhone. In fact, it would be multi-touch Doki Doki Maho Shinpan.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can't imagine... No, I don't want to continue.
Doki Doki Maho Shinpan live action multi-touch iPhone. Okay. With downloadable additional action. Anyway.
Continue. Proceed.
There's not going to be no malicious applications. So if I write an application that just takes your credit card information and gives it to me, or just calls all your friends all the time and relieves them nasty messages, they're not going to let that go through.
Man, that would be the best application.
Well, I guess if it lets you know what it's doing, it does it on purpose, right? No. And
wow.
They're not going to allow an application that unlocks the SIM card and allows you to switch away from AT&T.
As Scott pointed out when we were talking over pizza, I like how Engadget posed that question.
Yeah, because this is a rare thing. If you should go to Engadget, if for no other reason, at this particular Apple event, you had the rare circumstance where they actually did a Q&A. Like Steve Jobs and his two VP guys sat there for 10 minutes and took questions from the press, which is so fucking rare. I mean, usually he's just like, here's the shit, see you guys. Now he's like, okay, we will take questions. And it was like, oh, snaps. So Engadget was like, let me read exactly what Engadget asked, because they basically phrased it in such a way to try to get Steve Jobs to give the wrong answer. They're using a combination of negatives.
Will you not allow us to not make fall applications that don't unlock the SIM card?
Yeah. So let me read it exactly.
Come on. I'm not pausing this. I'm not editing tonight.
Here we go. Engadget asks, will SIM unlock software be considered software not allowed in the App Store? And then this is just their live blog, and it says answer : Steve : parenthesis pause parenthesis double quote ... yes period quote space laughter period. So basically, I mean, think about it. Will SIM unlock software be considered software not allowed in the App Store?
Yes.
I mean, you said to think, wait, if I say yes, that means it's not allowed.
Will you not give me $20?
Will this be considered not allowed in the... Yeah. That was a good show, Engadget. Way to go. They asked the best question, I think.
Yeah, what did Gizmodo do?
I don't know. It doesn't, because for all the other questions, it just says QA, but for that one, it says Q, we asked. which is Engadget, right? But yeah, the only question this really sort of makes the iPhone hot stuff. The only other things I have to say are that, first of all, the iPhone basically, they added every feature that a corporate company would want in a portable phone. So basically,
exchange integration.
They paid Microsoft money to make the iPhone work with Microsoft Exchange as well as that is possible. Full push email, calendar syncing, everything. And it's just full on hardcore. So BlackBerry best watch the fuck out. Also, Spore, iPhone, AIM, iPhone, some other things you don't care about, But yeah, basically, this is pretty hot because it means the iPhone is gonna, have applications that work, and it's gonna be, more open than some other platforms, like, say, your Verizon phone, but less open than, say, the Palm. And I don't know, it kind of makes me want an iPhone a little more. The only disappointments I have are, number one, where are the Google apps? Google apps, where are you? Hello?
The Google apps don't even work. Because we have Google for Domains, half our stuff doesn't work right anyway.
I know, because we have Google for Domains instead of regular Gmail, you think maybe having Google for Domains would give us an advantage over people with regular Gmail. No, it totally shafts you if you're trying to use the mobile stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Google Groups is, anyway.
Anyway, and two,
Oh, what? You lost your train of thought.
Sure
it's
did.
over. Anyway, things of the day. I'm not going to talk about this a lot. It's pretty self-evident, but some of my favorite people to ever live were the Duke. By the Duke, I mean Duke Ellington, not Il Duce. Not that he isn't awesome, but he might not have existed.
One dude with 7 guns.
That's silly.
6 guns.
Yeah, it's 6 guns.
6 guns.
But yeah, or Dizzy Gillespie, or any of those people. This is a blog I found that is just videos of awesome trumpet players. And
Wouldn't you just need the audio? Do you really need the video?
You need the video.
What does it add?
Let me put it this way. If you're a trumpet player,
besides watching like incredibly inflated cheeks.
That was, I don't know how he played that way. It's not a good way to play. But you get to see like a lot of famous trumpet players use kind of weird trumpets. They always had like their one weird thing. And also there's some trumpet battles. A lot of like a bunch of famous trumpet players get together and they all kind of jam, and it's cool. So check this out. That's all I got to say. What do you want? Trumpets.
All right. So I found this dude on YouTube via James Randi, and his name on YouTube at least is Captain Disillusion.
I saw the camel case in the URL.
Yeah. But anyway, Captain Disillusion here. He has some really high production values on his little YouTube videos.
He does. His special effects were actually pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's rather impressive, the quality of these videos. And basically what he does is he sort of makes these children-targeted videos, even though they're good for, I think, adults as well. But they're, I guess, supposedly targeted towards children. And he sort of says, hey, look at this, in a sort of children's show kind of way. See this? This is a video someone took. You see that? Yeah, that's not a ghost, that's a lens flare. Or, hey, look at this. See this video these people made? Yeah, this is how they made that video. It's not real. It's actually fake. Like, now, the best one is there's a video, you might have seen the video on YouTube before of a penguin like bitch slapping another penguin, and then that penguin falls through the ice. And he shows you, look, it's actually a fake. The first penguin fell through the ice on its own, and they just photoshopped in the slapping penguin. And he shows you how it was done, and it's very good for sort of teaching people, hey, this is real, and that's not real.
All right, so we're tired. We won't talk too long about this. We went kind of long yesterday, so it's okay.
We can get to bed.
Yeah, bed is necessary, but
very necessary.
So there was no show on Tuesday, as I've said a bunch of times, and the reason for that was that some abandoned prostitution-filled building. And that's not just me saying that. That was actually in the news now. Just collapsed around 3:45 on Tuesday.
At 124th Street and Park Avenue.
Now, pretty much every Metro North train that goes anywhere near where we live goes through from Grand Central, up, through Harlem and all that, to 125th Street in
Well,
Harlem.
Because a lot of people don't realize this. You go into Grand Central Station, right? And there's a whole bunch of tracks in there. But all those tracks, they sort of mix together and mix together and mix together. And coming out of Grand Central, other than the subway, which doesn't really count, but all the commuter trains, the other trains at Grand Central, all of them go out on 4 tracks. There are only 4 tracks that actually leave like the tunnel and come out into the sunlight, and they all 4 of those tracks go straight to 125th Street. So at 124th and Park, if a building collapses, that's right next to the trains.
So
all of them, all 4. No,
approximately 200,000 or 300,000 people use Metro North every day.
Yeah, a lot.
So, well, that was from the news. I didn't actually know how many. I just know I do.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, because my train's always crowded. My train's at the crack ass at dawn.
Yeah, and we're only on, one half of the Hudson line. There's the other half of the Hudson line, then there's 2 halves of the Harlem line, then there's like 4 different parts of the New Haven line.
Yep. There's a lot of people using Metro North. But, so basically, this semi-abandoned under construction building collapsed, and it didn't get on the tracks, but they were worried that vibrations from trains might collapse it further.
Yeah, Metro North didn't give a shit about the building collapsing, but the police are like, don't run the trains. Like, God damn it, we can't do anything.
Yeah, and there was also issues with they had to spend some time making sure the tracks were cleared, making sure it was all okay. But,
yeah, they always make sure of everything.
But as a result, Scott calls me. I'm getting up. I'm standing up to walk down, maybe get a drink or something, and get on my train. And Scott calls me.
Because I get emails from the MTA if anything happens to my train.
I do too, but I wasn't looking at the computer. I was standing up.
Uh-huh.
And Scott calls me. Scott never calls me.
The funny thing is
Scott
the email
doesn't like to chat.
The email said 3:15 on it, but it was well after 3:15 that I received that email.
So he says, yeah, Metro North's not running, building collapse. And I go, damn it.
And I'm thinking, well, if I'm stuck here, I'll just go to my cousin's apartment or my aunt's house or something,
Yeah, actually, all of us and Emily and Alex and everyone, there were places we all could have stayed. So we were pretty much already okay. But still, it kind of sucks to not be able to shower in your own house or change clothes or shave.
Or make a podcast.
Not that we made one anyway.
So I'm like trying to think of what we can do. I'm like, well, we can get a car service.
Now this is the whole Geek Fable part. I'm not gonna do the whole story and then lead up to the Geek Fable because I want to get this over with, and because it's pretty straightforward. When life gives you lemonade, kick its ass. So
what? Lemonade has an ass?
I guess.
So when does lemonade have an ass?
I was trying to think of something pithy to say. Like that old, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. But what if you're allergic to lemons? Well, if life gives you lemons, swell up and die.
Life gives you shit, make shit aid.
But when faced with adversity, pretty much there are 2 kinds of adversity. Adversity that can be overcome through effort, and adversity over which you have no control. You need to make the determination right away. Can you control it? If the answer is no, there is no point in even caring at all at any point beyond that.
For example, the sun is going to explode. Well, what the fuck can I do? Not much.
Sunglasses.
Pretty much. Maybe a little tinfoil hat.
Or if Metro North had said Metro North or if say I don't know, I'm trying to think of something crazy. For whatever reason, there was no way off of Manhattan Island. There was no physical way to get off of Manhattan Island.
Escape from Manhattan?
In that
Isn't there a movie called that?
Yes.
I never seen it. I know nothing about it other than that there is a movie called Escape from Manhattan.
You really are lacking in your post-apocalyptic Mad Max kind of movie watching.
I saw your thing of the day yesterday. I think that fills my quota.
Nah.
That wasn't even in your thing of the day yesterday.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, that was the Colonel that we didn't link to.
No, it wasn't the Colonel. It was the...
Yeah, but the Atata was in the Colonel.
Oh, okay, you're right.
It was on him, and then it was in him.
Yeah. Good guy.
Anyway, so, and if you can deal with it, then basically don't panic. Just think about what your options are. So, there's the 4 of us who all work in the city in different places. So we all call each other all right, here's the situation. let's mobilize now to avoid the badness that's about to happen.
And you had to think about this, right? We're in the island of Manhattan, which is the center of civilization, or effectively so, right? It's as much center of civilization as there's ever been.
Now, I don't want to hear any crap from any of you like, oh, but London or
London,
Paris or Chicago. No, New York City is still the greatest city in the world.
You can make an argument for, say, Beijing or something like that.
Yeah, maybe Hong Kong.
Or Tokyo, maybe.
Yeah, I think Tokyo, New York, and Hong Kong are at a similar level.
Beijing also.
Yeah.
Maybe LA has an argument.
But not as much. New York City is like the center of world commerce.
But anyway, we're here. We have money and we have time. There has to be a way for us to get from here to our house without using the train that is not working.
Now, of course, we mobilize immediately. So Emily and Alex are both like searching online from their job, like figuring out different ways. And I work across from Grand Central. So I physically go to Grand Central and start like asking people and looking and trying to figure out what I can do.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like, well, if the trains aren't leaving or coming into Grand Central, can I go to 125th Street on the subway and then get on there? Can I take the subway to the Bronx and get on the train at like Marble Hill?
Can I take a bus to the Bronx and then get on a train? Can I take there's a million things, and we had to, discount all these options and figure it out and you got to think rationally. You got to
Could I take the water taxi to like, Sing Sing and then get on the train?
Yeah. So everyone's researching, and I go into Grand Central, and I'm going to say this. This is why this is a geek fable. The majority of the people there were not reacting in a calm, calculated manner. People were crying. People were yelling at police officers. People were standing in line on platforms that they assumed trains would come on. And this large crowd was gathering and gathering and gathering. And I actually got out of Grand Central because it was getting extremely crowded and uncomfortable.
I went up the stairs, I took a picture, and then I went out.
Yeah, but pretty much
I saw like a pregnant lady like sitting on the ground against the wall, like she's like, oh well, gonna wait, and I'm like,
yep. Some
why
people
are you waiting?
The thing
I mean, I guess it's better than what those other people doing, but why are you waiting here? Why don't you make a move?
Pretty much, I'm gonna sum this up. Here's what you need to do whenever disaster strikes like this: think, react, and avoid the crowd. Any disaster, no matter how big or how small, you really don't want to be where all the other people are. Like, for example, the Grand Central trains are screwed up. Don't go to Grand Central. That's where everyone else is. Even if the trains start running, it's gonna suck. You don't want to deal with that.
Let's assume you go to the crowd and the best possible situation happens, right? The best possible situation is this. You get on the first train that is going to your house, right? You're the first one on that train and you get a seat. The train is still stupidly crowded and you're packed in like sardines. It's hot and nasty. It's going really slow and it's making a whole bunch of stops and it's going to take you forever to get home.
Plus, you had to wait in the train station full of an angry mob being subdued by the police
for a long time, and it was incredibly unpleasant. That is the best situation, staying at Grand Central in this situation. So why would you do that?
We were looking at different options. Like, all right, we could just stay in the city. We could get a hotel. We all have friends around here we can stay with.
Hell, if I stay in a hotel, I can go buy new clothes and take a shower.
We were looking like, what if we take the Port Jervis line? Because there's a station that's not that far from Beacon, and then hire a cab from there.
Well, we could take Jersey Transit from Penn Station, but that only gets us to the northern part of Jersey. And then from there, we have to find a way to get back to New York across the Hudson River.
Yes, and
it doesn't work. It's not a good plan for us.
Emily and Alex actually came to the rescue. Like, we were doing all our research, and I fought my way up to the information desk, and I asked the Metro North guy, and other people. I don't get these people who are going up to the MTA like conductors and yelling at him like, you better make my train go. What's going on? When? And the conductor's like, I don't know. Don't talk to me. I'm stuck here
what,
too.
You think you're yelling at the guy is going to solve this big problem, and somehow that's going to help?
The best part, as we were leaving Grand Central, the barricade truck was coming up, and they actually were setting up queues to kind of keep people in an orderly manner.
Yeah, when we left, there were a whole bunch of police on the corner of like 46 and the 42nd and what's that street? It's that little tiny street. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, those streets don't have names as far as they're just those streets.
Yeah, I forget the name of that little tiny street, but they're all standing there getting ready for action. So I'm like, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah. So basically, we're not. The whole story is after all our research, Emily and Alex made the decision. And see, here's the other thing: because we worked as a group, all of us who trusted each other went in different directions, trying to figure out what to do. And then the first person to come up with a good solution made a snap decision, took care of it, and then informed the rest of us to call off our searches.
Yep.
Emily bought us 4 Amtrak tickets to Poughkeepsie because Amtrak uses different tracks.
Yeah, well, Amtrak uses pretty much the same track, except instead of the problem, right, was at 124th Street. The Amtrak train goes out of Penn Station up the west side of the island, and then onto the same tracks we usually use.
Well, after the problem.
So that's well above that. It doesn't meet up with the the tracks don't merge until you get up to like way up north of the Bronx, like maybe. Is that like, I think it's like Sputin Doivel around there is what it's called.
So everyone's, a lot of people are panicking or stuck. And instead, we made our decision. We had our tickets. We went and had a nice Chinese Korean fusion dinner, a nice leisurely walk.
Ticket was only $25.
We went to the game store. We went to a bookstore. We chilled. Scott didn't seem to understand how Amtrak worked and got really antsy when there was 1 minute before the train was supposed to arrive and they didn't say what track it was going to be on.
Yeah, Amtrak, I don't like that action.
Scott, you got to calm down. Amtrak's not going to be, you don't need to worry.
It's no good. I don't like it.
It's not like they're going to say, the train is on track 4, go, 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 oh my God.
That's sort of what they did. We didn't have long to get on that.
Yes, we did.
No, you didn't.
Besides, all the tracks are right there.
Yeah, I still don't like that action.
Also, you realize Amtrak actually waits for you for a while before they give up. They'll actually pay, like if someone has a name ticket and they haven't showed up yet, they'll page them a couple times.
They didn't look at my ticket to know my name or anything.
Well,
or
I
keep
think
track in
but
any way.
they've done that in the past. They did that a couple times when I took the Amtrak to Chicago.
Yeah, well, I mean that's a much longer kind of trip. That's the kind of trip where people bring luggage and you're waiting a lot. This is a.
Anyway, I think you were overly nervous about the Amtrak.
I don't like the Amtrak. Except
anyway,
it's comfortable though.
It's real comfortable.
Yeah.
So yeah, we took that to Poughkeepsie.
I didn't get any food though.
And then on Poughkeepsie.
They had a dining car. We pulled that dining car along with us. We didn't get any food.
You could have gone down there and bought some.
No, fuck that.
I tried to do that.
I should have gotten free food for go. Anyway.
Yeah, so and the thing is, the train was actually kind of full of other people who were smart like us and did the same smart thing.
Yeah, there were a few smart people, a few people going to Albany normally, like, all kinds.
Yep. And we get to Poughkeepsie, and we check, and Metro North doesn't seem to be going back anytime soon. So.
No, I wasn't going to wait around to see if there was a Metro North train going in the reverse direction.
So we just hire a cab. Now, this is probably when we risked our lives the most, because that cab driver, I don't know if he could see.
I don't think he could see because he was leaning forward and driving poorly.
I think he might have been blind.
I don't think he was blind. I think he just needed to go to the eye doctor.
That man crossed the center line more often than is warranted.
He was hanging well over that center line and he bumped the curb on the right once
There were like
or
4
twice.
times where I braced myself for impact.
Yeah. Not a good driver, that guy.
However, yeah, I didn't really.
The thing is,
him.
we were in a relatively big, safe van, so I wasn't too worried about being injured, but I wasn't confident that he was going to make it without incident, though.
Yeah. But then, we realized we actually had a way to measure.
If you're in a cab and they crash, is the ride free?
Actually, I saw a situation where a cabbie was pulled over, and the cop was writing him a ticket because he ran a red light.
Uh-huh.
And the customer opens the door, and the cop looks like, because the door opened. And the customer's like, can I just go? This is where I wanted to be anyway.
Yeah, but if
and the cop said, yeah. And then she's like, well, do I have to pay the cabbie? And the cop's like, hell no. So that's the answer to that.
I think the situation. Who knows what the law says about whether you have to pay the cabbie? But
regardless, if
that cop wasn't going to arrest her for it, then basically, if there was a law, it wasn't going to be enforced.
If a cabbie
so it
is in an
effectively
accident,
doesn't exist.
I'm not paying that cabbie. In fact, I might be suing that cabbie, but I digress.
Yeah. Anyway,
so our measure of success, we realized on the way home, was how many cars are still in the parking lot in Beacon.
Yeah, because if the parking lot in Beacon was still full of cars, that meant that either those people have given up, right? Those people were staying over the night anyway, or those people hadn't made it back to Beacon yet because, for whatever reason, they're waiting for a train. Who knows? And
the parking lot was about half full. I feel good.
It was much more full than it usually is at that time of night. So I think we got back to Beacon before before we could have gotten back, waiting for trains.
Pretty much, to have gotten to Beacon at about the same time we got via Metro North would have involved the risk of Metro North not starting up again. Because they were talking like it was going to be down all night at first.
Yeah,
they didn't know.
Basically there was no information for us to make a decision. We didn't know when it was going to be back up, or anything. So, waiting around for it was a big risky move.
Plus,
whereas the Amtrak was a sure move, and also the Amtrak allowed us time to eat dinner and relax.
Yeah, to take Metro North and get back at any reasonable time, we would have had to been in Grand Central that whole time, miserable, hungry, hot, sweaty, and bored.
And taking a big risk on having that have been a waste of time.
Yes, I have slept on the streets outside of Grand Central more times in my life than I care to, and I do not want to repeat that.
You mean one?
Yes, that is more times than I planned on in my life. When I was a kid, I'd put the threshold of sleeping on the streets of New York City at 0, and I've already breached that threshold. I don't want to breach it further.
We should purposefully go sleep on the streets for fun.
That was kind of fun.
We should go sleep in like Central Park.
I remember when that cop came by,
more comfortable,
and he was like, "You guys okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." Waiting for a train. He was like, okay. And he kept going.
Meanwhile, then in the morning when it was actually time for trains, we go in and we see that all these other people were inside. We're like,
they were just in the front, and there's like one cop watching them.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that didn't look any more comfortable or safe, to be honest.
Nah, we should have gone to like Central Park and slept in the grass, been more comfortable.
Yes, alone in Central Park, asleep, is much safer than next to police officers at a well-lit, populated area.
You could go where there's a light and a bench and a cop in the park.
Yeah, you do that.
The bench is more comfortable than the sidewalk, at least.
So anyway, the moral. I'm not going to do the wheel of morality or whatever. It's pretty simple.
It turns.
Don't panic. And by don't panic, I mean don't lose your shit when things go bad. Think, react, and stay away from crowds, and everything will turn out okay.
Yep.
Also, sadly, money can pretty much solve any problem.
Yeah, that's it. That's another thing. If you want to be like Penn Jillette, because this is something he often espouses, is don't go anywhere or put yourself in any situation where money can't save your ass, and always have enough money to save your ass no matter what happens.
Yeah, no, that's not I mean...
I don't stand by that 100%.
Well, no, that is the advice of a person who is a libertarian solely because he is wealthy enough to afford everything he could ever want.
Yeah, that's the advice.
Why don't people just buy their own police? Ha ha! I could afford it. You can too.
That's the advice of a rich and famous person with a mansion in Vegas.
Yeah, it's easy to be a libertarian with an uppercase L if you're incredibly wealthy and have your own compound.
Great. All right, are we done?
We're done. This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geeknights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via Audio. Just click the link that says Send Me an Audio on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.